This is the Say It Can't Gamer, and you are live with the MMA Holes!
Mixed Martial A-Holes! MMA Holes, MMA Holes, MMA Holes, MMA Holes, MMA Holes. You like to be a mixed martial A-hole. MMA holes, MMA holes, MMA holes, MMA holes, MMA holes.
Boom, 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 boom.
No way.
From the Queen Studios of New York, MMBA, Mixed Martial Basketball Association. What the hell is that about? We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight on the MMA Holes Hour. Karyn Wesch is live as well with the MMA. Wonderful, wonderful. Jessie, how are you today?
I'm wonderful, wonderful as always.
Ah, yes, we're wonderful, wonderful tonight. It's another magical show here on the MMA Hole, so strap on, strap in. It's going to be a bumpy ride because tonight we will be talking about this brawl that happened in the NBA. Does that mean mixed martial arts and basketball are colliding?
Yes.
Well, you think so?
Yes.
Oh, well, all right.
Easily.
Yeah, maybe with LeBron James in a gi or LeBron James strapping some fucking elbows. I don't know. We're going to be talking about that in a second. But tonight, a special guest, a friend of the show, someone that's been on here multiple times, and the OGs know. Now we're going to introduce her to the new Gs. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a guest, and her name is Karyn Wesch. Oh, yeah. Wonderful, wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, I could have sang We Got a Guest. It's
You
like
wanna-
special.
You want to sing
Special
an acapella?
for Karyn. We got a guest.
Okay,
We
ready, go.
got a guest. We got a guest on the MMA Holes. We got a guest.
Yes.
We got a guest.
All right, thank you. Karyn. Look at that.
It feels so super crazy. Never does that for anybody else.
Crazy. It's unbelievable stuff here, Karyn. Karyn, welcome to the show. We want to do a quick spot with you over here because you have a big event, and Premier FC has been very kind to us. We've been to multiple events over there, and now you're doing your 27th event, and we need you to explain to the MMA holes why should they go to this event? Why should they watch Premier FC 27?
You know what? It's number 27. We have been putting on amazing shows with these amazing fighters that are local, and we're lucky because now we're able to bring fighters in from all over the country. We started about 5 shows ago, but this one's exciting because we have William Knight. And who does not love William Knight? I mean, come on. He's like a freak of nature. So, having him as co-main event, it's just an exciting night. The fighters that are on are awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be an extremely intense night. We have William Knight on the screen right now. We're showing him just pounding someone's face in inside out. The guy is a specimen, for God's sakes. And now he's going to be gracing your cage once again. I do see is Pat Casey back on this card too, or?
He's supposed to be. I'm working on a matchup for him. I have a guy in Florida we're looking at, and I have a guy in Illinois that I'm looking at. So we got to kind of make it work. He's coming off a Bellator win, so I didn't want to match him one fight at a time, so his mind was just set right there. But I've been working on it today. I just started working on it yesterday, so today I kind of went a little harder, and I think I've lowered it down to the 2. So we just got to make it work. It's only 3 weeks away, so I just got to kind of do some fancy footwork and make it happen.
Right around the corner, November 10th. Where is the location of this one?
It's at Roots Athletic Center in Westfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
New place. Yes, we had to go a little bit bigger. It's our last show again, so I'm excited.
That should be a good time over there. Roots Athletic Center. We have a link in the description to their website so you can check out more information. Getting back to Pat Casey, the guy's on a 4-fight win streak with his pro. I mean, this guy goes pro and then 4 in a row. 2 Bellator wins. Unbelievable stuff. Mike Perry, who came from your organization as well, another guy on fire, like one of these hot fighters. You know, he's had a couple of L's, but bounces back and is on top of his game coming from Premier FC. How do you grow talent like this at Premier?
You know what? It's not really me growing the talent. It's kind of a team of people. I give the opportunity. I can only bring in fighters. I can bring the coaches a certain amount of fighters and say, this is why I feel like this is a good fight, or we kind of work as a team to build their career. Again, everybody doesn't want to be in the UFC. Everybody doesn't want to grow. There's a lot of fighters who want to be at like the top of the regional scene and will never make it past that. So they have a different fight. We've talked about this, I think. They have a different fight plan. So we might throw like the best of the best right away, and then you have to just work your way to try to get in, take away their belt or whatever. And then you got these guys like Pat Casey, who his long-term goal is to be at the top in the world. And so matching him is, you have to be very careful, because if I feel like Pat can win the second best in the world, and I put him with the second best in the world right now, and he wins that guy, all these guys that were up and coming up to that point won't fight him now, because they're not going to mess with their own career. So it's really like a ladder, and you have to hit every rung of that ladder. So, his last fight, even at Bellator, that was his team's way of saying, okay, this is the next step. So it's not always about me and what I think. It's really about the team and what's best for Pat at that particular moment. It's just, I'm lucky enough to be part of that.
I tell you, Premier FC does a fantastic job. Karyn Wesch, live with us right now, the CEO of Premier FC, well, the founder of Premier FC is here, and it's a pleasure to have you back. A lot of organizations now. It's not just the UFC anymore. There is a lot of organizations. You got this PFL that's doing a fantastic job. Of course, Bellator is there. You have ONE FC that just signed Eddie Alvarez with an 8-figure deal, which is crazy stuff. What makes you stand out from these other organizations? If you had to say what was one thing that stands out from every other organization, what would that be?
It's funny, like some of the ones that you named, PFL, and that's World Series of Fighting, and I worked really closely with Ray Sefo. I actually matched with World Series of Fighting, and then they kind of jumped off the radar for a while and rebuilt this new league. But working with them, I've worked really tightly with Bellator and Ian over at Bellator, and now James over there. I think I take a piece of those larger shows. I go in there to learn, and I take a piece of them to the local level, so that to help fighters prepare for that level. And I don't think I think a lot of promoters, and I'm probably guilty of this in the beginning too, as it was kind of like, you have to build your league, do whatever's best for your league. But at the end of the day, it's really not just about your league. It's about those fighters and growing them, because you'll grow if they grow. I probably say this more on your show than anything else, is it's a team thing. And I think that when you have some of these other local guys, when they really think, okay, it's about me, you really lose grasp of what the hell you're in this for to begin with.
Absolutely.
So I think that separates me a little bit, is I really truly, I'm out here building, you look at some of our highlight videos, those are guys who've never fought before. We're starting them off to prepare them, because you're going to have to do highlight videos, you're going to have to travel, you have to train, you have to cut weight. All of these are part of the big show. So it's important to teach them right now in the beginning and treat them like they're professional high-level fighters, because that's how they're going to do their walk. If they're going to get there, they need to be prepared the whole time.
If you're out on the East Coast, you got to check out Premier FC November 10th at the Roots Athletic Center. Always putting on a good show over there. I got to say, you see shows in warehouses. You see shows in catering halls and stuff like that. But this promotion, Premier, every time I've gone to an event, it's been nothing but class. It's the room stayed full from beginning to end, which is always fun, and it's always a good time. So definitely check them out.
Super chat.
We got a super chat coming in over here.
I don't know that I can't.
When Premier FC folds, can I have the cage?
It's a great question. Pulse Reloaded wants to know, when Premier FC folds, can he have the cage?
Sure.
She's like, that's never happening.
Yeah,
Get it out of my dead bleeding hands. No problem.
It is a nice cage. I tell you what, I've been in that cage multiple times.
Yeah.
And nice mat. The logo's on there. Very nice. Pulse, you would love that cage. All right, Jessie, pulled some comments from the chat room over here. Let's see what we got going on.
Kevin Costa would like to know how you feel about women's MMA fights.
I'm gonna wrap one on one
hold
shoulder,
that thought.
I'm gonna wrap the other on the other shoulder, and you're gonna need a fucking army to come take them belts off me.
We got Vlad.
That guy's a fucking juice head. The gyno on his chest is a dead giveaway.
Okay.
If he makes it to the UFC, he'll either get flagged by USADA or get off a gear and take an L.
All right, so what Vlad is talking, he's talking about William Knight. Now,
Yeah.
William Knight is a specimen, right? This guy, he's a monster. He really is a monster. A complete athlete, muscles on top of muscles over here. What is William Knight's backstory? Is he juiced?
So I've known William Knight. You know what's so crazy? If I didn't know William, I would look at him and think, okay, he would be someone I would question. But I have known William Knight since the beginning of his career. The very first radio interview, the very first fight, the very first everything that he did with Premier. I remember he was so nervous during his first like radio interview. It was 2 weeks before he fought. He was so heavy. I mean, I think he fought at like 249 or 250, somewhere in there. And I watched him with my own eyes do flips, flips, and he was 250 pounds. He is so incredibly athletic. But then I watch and I work with, and I see the person who helps him cut weight, and he goes onto these machines, and they tell him exactly what he needs to cut, where he needs to cut it, and he works out. He is faithfully in the gym. He's not just in the gym working out for, like jiu-jitsu and all that. He's actually in the gym. He's running. He's lifting weights every single day. He is in the gym from morning until night. Anybody that questions it, I encourage people. Ask him to be tested. He will be the first person standing in line to go get tested. Because I've asked him to get tested before. It's like, no problem.
In William's defense, I mean, I've followed him on social media since we ran into you guys. And I mean, I tell you what, the guy is consistently in the gym. The first thing everyone says, you see the puffy nipples. Oh my God, these puffy nipples, he's got to be on steroids. And the muscles are on top of muscles. I could see why people would say that. What would you do, like with these fighters here? I know you don't have like super strict testing and stuff like that, but what do you do if you do find out, say if you have a fight coming up and someone's a little shady, someone's a little suspect, would you pull that big fight? Would you pull that from the card, or would you say, fuck it, let's just get this event going?
Now, if I questioned whether or not a fight, like if a fighter came up and I heard he was on steroids or something like that, I would have him tested immediately, or I would pull him off the card.
There you go.
I just don't think, for me, I feel like steroids gives you strength, but it doesn't give you like the agility that people think it does. Like, I have my own personal thoughts, but I also think there's a lot of gray areas when it comes to rules and stuff, but I really do believe in the law and the rules, and I have to follow them because that's my ass too. And I don't want someone to come out of my league as a champion and then get pulled because they're on steroids. So if I question it, I'll have them tested or I'll pull the fight.
Let's be honest. If you could get away with it, why not though, right? If a fighter can get away with it.
You know what? It's so funny you said
Right?
because, like, I told you, we went through that thing where someone had said that I had falsified medicals or something. And I didn't. And that was a really hard thing for me because I don't deal with the gray area, And that taught me a lesson. Like, if it's there and you can get away with it, it doesn't matter because you're going to get caught.
Eventually,
there's not very many of us. You know what I mean? There's not. How many promoters are there in Massachusetts?
No, there isn't many. No, there isn't. Yeah, and listen, they don't. A lot of the local organizations, we've met a bunch around here too, and there's like a lot of things like gray areas. Like you guys don't have a USADA or anything like that. So basically, if they make those mistakes within your organization, I mean, you do what you can to keep it clean, but it's on them to go to the next level and stay clean. So I mean, I don't know. What can you do? You can't follow them around. You can't babysit them. You don't have a USADA. You don't have any of that stuff. So really, it's out of your hands, really, right? I mean, what can you do?
Well, no, because we don't control any of that. Like, when testing happens, it happens through the State Athletic Commission. Like, even for myself, my fighters that get licensed, they don't get licensed for me. I only send them the paperwork, and I don't even that goes to the state. Like, everything that has to do with a fighter and their testing and their blood and all of that stuff, all of that goes through the state. That has nothing to do with me. So if they get busted doing something they're not supposed to, I give the call and go, you're pulled from the card. But ultimately, I don't make that decision.
Yeah.
If you did a really shitty job and you felt like you needed to do something that was going to do whatever, or if you were doing it and you got caught, that's on you. That's not on me. The most I could do is give you an opportunity to fight and give you the platform to do it. Other than that, that's all on you. Like you just said,
exactly.
If you're going to play those games here at this level, what's going to happen when you get to that level? You're going to have to clean up. And if you clean up and you stop doing it, what's going to happen to you?
Absolutely. Karyn Wesch from Premier FC has an event November 10th, 2018, the Roots Athletic Center. How many pro fights and AMI fights do you have on the card?
I have 3 pro fights, which is a small pro card for me, right? But the Bellator was just here, so they took a lot of local fighters. So I have 3 pro fights and 8 amateur fights.
Okay, there you go. And check it out at Roots Athletic Center. It is wonderful, wonderful. Jess, a couple of questions from the chat. I know you pulled something.
Yeah, the one from Kevin Costa was, how did you feel about women's fights? And then she got interrupted by a donation.
All right, so women's fights. How do you feel about women fighters in mixed martial arts?
I love it. I love it. I love, a lot of people give Ronda Rousey so much shit. Like, do I love she's in WWE? I'm sad that she's there, but
are you really? Like, are you really?
She looks ridiculous. Like, I think she should have stopped fighting one fight ago for the UFC, and I think she should have become a judo teacher. Like, I don't think she should be yelling at some twins for hurting her. Like, that's so opposite of who I thought she was.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I feel like she opened a door for all women in MMA, and I thank her for that, because you know what? Some of those women fights are some of the best fights I've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, burn the bras, people. We did that.
Fun fact: Jessie does not like women's MMA. This is a fun fact.
I'm not.
Could you believe this?
For real?
I'm not the biggest fan.
She just wants to see dudes.
Why do you feel that way?
Well, here's the thing. I've always found men's fights more entertaining because there's always something more that happens. You can just see it, like, just in the way, in their fighting technique and the style. Just there's always something more that they're giving. It feels like with women, there are and I've told them this before. It's not all women's fights. It's most women's fights, because I feel like they're not giving as much as what I have seen with men's fights. So it's not that I don't like women, or that I don't like women's fights. There's some women's fights that I love, like the Shevchenko versus Nunez. I watched Joanna versus Rose, which was a great one, but there's just some that I'm like, I think
a lot of that too has to do with, like, women don't normally hit each other. Like, boys grow up, they beat the shit out of each other,
right?
But like, you watch women don't fight like that. We're like, we're like talking shit about each other.
Yeah.
Like, by the time we're about to fight, we're like, oh my god. But
I think what she's trying to say, though, I think what it is every time you see a women's fight, and I like women's MMA. I'm actually in the minority. I like it. But I think what she's trying to say is every time you see a women's fight, right, that's going to be a decision. Like, that's usually what happens,
yeah,
right?
It's perfect. That's a perfect explanation for it. It's usually how it ends, is a decision. I like to see, like, finishes. I like to see a submission or knock. Like, I want to see something, in a fight. That's what fighting is.
I've seen women so much do that. I still think we're in the toddler stage. I don't think we have
seen
the true talent in women's MMA. I really, truly don't. Yes, we had Ronda Rousey, but I think we all agree Ronda Rousey is a very one-dimensional fighter.
Right.
I think we've seen great pieces of great fighters, but I think we're still in the infancy stage, and I think we're going to, at some point in the next couple of years, really start seeing the talent in women's MMA. But you're 100% right. Like, these women that go in there, they're not pity-pattying, so they're not, like, not fighting, but they go to decision, and I don't know why that is, or if they hold back, I'm not sure. Yeah. But I still don't think I don't think we've nearly seen the talent that's out there for women's MMA.
I think we found the answer in the chat. Goggle Product says women are mainly retards with a hint of great ass and perfect pussy.
Right, and there's that. There's what we said, and then there's that. So,
which one's more logical?
I'm not sure, but I forgot about that part.
It's
that was
figured out.
I was going to say next. So
look at that. That's great. It's a great comment. How do you top that? Anyway, all joking aside, November 10th, Roots Athletic Center. It's going to be a great time. Now, there's going to be a live stream for this, correct? Or how? So how can they watch if they can't make it to the Roots Athletic Center? All over the world, people are watching here. How can they watch this event?
So it's really awesome. Last time we had the most buys from the last fight than we have at any other fight we've done. So I think people are really starting to, and they were coming from Florida and California, and I didn't have people in California, and I didn't have people in Wisconsin. I don't know what we're doing in Wisconsin, but there's a lot of people from Wisconsin. But we definitely had more. So they can go to fight.tv. I think it's $14.99 somewhere. I think it's $14.99. And that they just go there and they could watch it there versus coming to the fight.
There you go. A lot of people over here do have Fight TV. They watch Fight TV with all the other promotions as well. So it's that simple. November 10th, check it out. Premier FC will be at the Roots Athletic Center. If you want more information, we have a link in the description. Karyn, thank you for coming on. Any last words to these dysfunctional idiots?
I love you guys. Be assholes. That's why we're all here. Have fun, be assholes. Cheers.
There you go.
Cheers.
All right, Karyn, thank you so much for coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
Are you guys coming to the fight?
We'll talk after that. It's a little long story. Mike Perry's fighting. All right,
bye, guys.
Be good. Karyn Wesch, there she is. Karyn Wesch.
That was so subtle. Mike Perry's fighting. We'll talk about it. Mike Perry's fighting.
Yeah, Mike Perry's fighting. Yeah, we'll talk later. Karyn Wesch, check her out.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. November 10th, 20. All right.